Pikachu, are you ready for PAX? Hello and welcome to Dad at Play. This episode we are going to be recapping our PAX experience for 2016, talking about many games that we saw there. The annual Penny Arcade Expo is a great celebration of games and gaming. One of the things that I like most about it is how it emphasizes both tabletop and video games almost equally. Classic games available to play, unreleased titles to check out, and so much more. I was able to take my kids to the show, one on each day. Mostly what they saw were different things, but there was some overlap in what they wanted to check out. So let's start with one of the, if not the biggest disappointment of the show this year, Nintendo. Each year, Nintendo has a big showing, and this year was very different. Usually, there's a main booth on the expo floor with plenty of Wii U titles and some 3DS games. Then on the lower levels, a bunch of 3DS stuff, and just, massive amounts of titles shown. This year, the main booth was really small, and only, I think, was 2 3DS titles. Now, August and Kieran, my 13 and 9-year-olds, both liked the demo that they got to play, but everybody was disappointed that Nintendo didn't have more games, particularly more that, there's stuff coming out later this year. Yokai Watch 2 is coming out in 2 different flavors, and if you're not familiar with this game, it's kind of like Pokemon. You gather up, in this case, you gather up spirits instead of Pokemon, or they're called yokai, and they do battle with other spirits. It's going to come in 2 variants later this year for, trading and whatnot. So, but Yokai Watch 2 is coming later, and that was it. That was Nintendo. Really, really sad. One game that 2 of my kids got to check out and enjoy was Trove, a free-to-play MMO that takes a bit of inspiration from Minecraft. This is from Tryon Worlds, same ones behind Defiance, Rift, and others, and certainly much more family-friendly, rated E10+ for quote-unquote fantasy violence. There's a hub world. Players can travel into pre-generated worlds, build their base, battle monsters, visit other player creations. It is now out for the PC and free to play. There are microtransactions for certain items, as well as unlocking a few specific classes. There are also bundles which can be purchased as well. But I recommend trying the game out free for at least a while. There should be no harm in trying it out. It is available for the PC now, and it's planned for the PS4 and Xbox One, but no date has been announced yet. Already available for the PC, Super Combo Man is getting a bit of a facelift with all of the updates and other changes, and headed to the PS4, Xbox One, and being re-released on the PC in the near future. Essentially, Super Combo Man Smash Edition is a sort of side-scrolling platform brawler with plenty of upgrades and, yes, combos, helping to keep the action moving. You play as the lovable Struggles, a big kid with a talking fanny pack and wobbling mullet nuggets on his dome piece. Struggles is trying to take care of his little brother Biscuit the best way he knows how, emulating his favorite comic book character, Super Combo Man, busting combos on all his coworkers to get the job done and grab that check to pay for their mortgage. Heavy Metal Machines is a multiplayer arena-style car combat game that was a lot more family-friendly than I had expected. Now, it is currently taking sign-ups for the beta. And when I say family-friendly, I'm not talking Disney. This is vehicular combat, but there's nothing lewd or graphic from what we have seen. My 6-year-old played it and had a lot of fun. Teams of vehicles go after each other by driving through the course, picking up a bomb, using it to take out the enemy. There are bots, so players don't have to have a team together in order to play. A dozen different types of vehicles and roles offer up gameplay choices that should fit just about any style, be it grindcore or gothic black metal or my personal favorite 80s British metal. So, most agree the old 2D Sonic titles are best, so some of the original levels are getting remixed with some new levels, and the result is the upcoming Sonic Mania, a title with little to no official information. We know it is coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, and that's about it. Sega's website has no info on the game right now, and instead the website features the upcoming Sonic Boom game, which I didn't see at Sega's booth at PAX at all. You wonder why Sega isn't doing as well as it used to. One of the games that I was looking forward to most this year at PAX to check out was this upcoming RPG, Outward. It's been in development so far for a couple of years and has at least about a year or so to go left. There's been a lot done with a small team of 10. I was chatting with Guillaume Boucher-Vidal, president and game designer at developer 9 Dots. He was saying their previous title was well received, but everybody would say that they knew somebody who would like this. But with Outward, everybody said that they would like it, sort of a shift in how it's being received. It's an open-world RPG, readily available 2-player co-op. Outward's controls, from what I test drove, were fairly intuitive. The biggest adjustment was locking onto an enemy by clicking down on the right thumbstick. There is encumbrance, so you're wearing your backpack full of equipment, you're not going to be able to dodge. There's also going to be a fair amount of equipment management that will take some getting used to, but it felt normal, sort of expected even, like things in the real world. Spellcasting will work differently. Players will gather their raw materials and then use those materials to channel their mana into various spells, kind of like a light variation of crafting. The triggers will switch out the mapping of the face buttons on the controller, bringing up various skills and abilities, such as spellcasting or even crafting bandages, which are used to heal. Health, stamina, and mana are only 3 of the things players need to keep track of during the game. Stamina will be important. Players will need to eat, drink, and rest. Another real-world inclusion is stability. Players and enemies can be knocked down. That means that they're prone to take more damage and not able to do good attacks. There's a meter on the button of the screen that indicates a character's stability. Once you learn to watch out for it, it's easy enough to keep track of. I did not get a chance to talk about the game's story, unfortunately, but with a good bit of time between now and when the game is released, there's still plenty of time to learn about Outward. Definitely had fun playing this game, and cannot wait to get my hands on it again in the near future. Definitely an RPG to look out for, keep an eye on. Both Xavier and Dela got to play Giant Jenga. Xavier first, we sort of just stumbled across it, sort of by accident. The two of us played and had a lot of fun. Then the next day, Dela, having heard about it from Xavier, wanted to try it out. Well, as it happened, a tournament was starting at the time that we got there. Dela lasted 3 rounds, making it into the semifinals before getting eliminated. The tower was 33 levels high when she made it collapse, unfortunately. When we stop having toddlers in the house, this might be something to think about picking up, because it was really fun.
Yes.
I would like to apologize right from the start for this lousy camera angle here. I kept trying and nothing worked out. Anyway, Simon's Cat is a game that can take 10-15 minutes to play, and it's ridiculously simple but fun. The gameplay mechanic is much like Uno, where you try to match the color and number of the card in the pile, discarding from your hand in an attempt to get rid of all your cards. If you can not discard, you take the pile. regardless of how big it is. This is referred to as a mess, and you play until everyone has gotten rid of their hand. Person with the most stacks or messes in front of them draws one of the Simon cards, and the first person to have 3 Simons is the loser. It seems as if the point of the game isn't to win, but to not lose. We'll be picking this one up soon. Another game I was looking forward to checking out is Bill and Ted's Excellent Board Game. I did get a good angle this time. I love the movie, so I was interested in how this could get turned into a board game. And we played on a larger demo board, and I have to say it was a bit confusing, but well worth the investment of time, pun not intended. You take the cards. You follow the directions on the cards here. You move according on the board according to that, and then after your turn, you move the sheriff and or the knight, depending on the movement of the cards. You want to pick up the various figures in history, and they each have moves on the back of them. And so you going from left to right, you have them stacked. Watch here.
Joan, Napoleon, Beethoven, and the princess.
Yeah, make it magic.
I turn right, forward, right, forward. I turn around, forward, forward. And then with this card, I go left, left, forward, and then left, backward.
Alright.
And the sheriff will go left, forward, and then left, backward.
Alright. And I'll go according to your plan.
No.
At least you're not losing any. That's the longest I've seen anybody hold on to 4.
I was hoping to position myself over to Socrates.
Socrates.
So, as you can see, there's a lot of movement around. You take when you pick up a character, it goes to the most left portion in front of you. You then follow those movements first before you you take two of your out of your 5 cards. You have 5 cards in your hand. You use 2 of them to move, and then on those cards you have also sheriff icon or knight icon, and that's how the quote unquote bad guys move. And if you come across them, you drop the last person that you picked up. It doesn't matter where you are on the board, and because time can loop. You can go off of one edge of the board and then come back in on the other edge of the board, just completely straight through. This is a game, it was really fun to play. It got really confusing, but not like confusing so that you can't play. It's just there's a lot to keep track of. It's really fun, and I'm definitely going to be picking this one up soon. Cluster Truck is an endless runner of sorts. Players run from one end of the course to the other, and the trick is, well, there's a couple of them, but one is the floor is lava, so you have to stay on top of the trucks, or whatever. And the other thing is, these trucks are not exactly driving as if they know how to drive. For some reason, I was reminded of the Burnout games as I played this. Only instead of driving recklessly and crashing spectacularly, you're playing as somebody who is on top of one of these vehicles, sort of surfing along on top, trying to stay alive. It is still early in development, but this is definitely a game that I want to keep an eye on. It's pretty cool. Wacky it's just bizarre and simple and fun. Anyway, yeah, wacky, bizarre, simple, and fun. I don't know how else to describe this. August is a fan of the PS4 game galak-z, which he saw at a previous PAX. Stumbling across galak-z variant mobile made him rather curious, and this is, as the name implies, a more portable version of galak-z for tablets and phones. The controls are on the touchscreen and do take some getting used to, and galak-z variant mobile is still in development, and we were told the controls are still being worked on, but the developers were curious as to our thoughts on the concept in making the game portable, and we said that we liked it. But as predominantly console players, that's where our preferences are, but the concept is solid, and they're well on their way to bringing what is a great game to a new audience. Another game that we saw last year was Mecha-Zoo, only this time things were different. One screen and a single guy has given away to multiple screens, and several members of the development team showing off this title. 3 of my kids got their hands on Mecha-Zoo this year. This platforming title uses mechanical animals, and certainly something that they're going to want when it is ultimately released. Tumblestone is a game that I stumbled across and I was instantly hooked. The premise is simple, gameplay is fast. Simply clear 3 of the same color block from the field of play in a row. Well, as with any good puzzle game, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the absolute basics of the gameplay. It's addictive. With the rating of E, it's easily a game that the whole family can play. Tumblestone features a massive single-player campaign in addition to multiplayer. You don't feel the need to have kids in order to enjoy this. As with any good puzzle game, there's multiple modes of play, and Tumblestone really seems to cover all the bases, and then some. So, about 10 years ago, maybe a little more, I wound up playing a lot of adventure games. One of the ones that I remember most was Prisoner of War. And Church in the Darkness reminds me of this game in many ways, though this should not be seen as a comparison. The thing is, playing the demo, this top-down stealth exploration adventure brought me back to that gameplay in the many types of games that I used to play like that. That sort of exploration, stealthy adventure. Church in the Darkness looks to be no different in that respect, as far as that type of gameplay where it's about the adventure and about exploring and the story, really. Players will find a shifting storyline with different challenges and missions, each playthrough to altering the narrative. Different characters will have different motivations, whatnot. The gameplay not only offers stealth action, but also the option for players to use full-on lethal or non-lethal moves to accomplish their goals. The story is one very familiar to me as well. In the 70s, to avoid persecution, the Collective Justice Mission moves from the United States to South America. And is it inspired by real events? Well, certainly. Players will need to infiltrate Freedom Town, uncover the truth about those leading the village/church, and there's a lot more to it. Church in the Darkness is coming to the PC, PS4, and Xbox One sometime next year. And hearkening back to the good old days of Maniac Mansion and other LucasArts titles, Thimbleweed Park is being developed by Ron Gilbert and Gary Winnick. Go look them up. Thimbleweed Park, once a thriving town, is now a virtual shell of its former self. 2 federal agents are sent to investigate a dead body, but that's only the beginning. Thimbleweed Park will have 5 playable characters, the 2 FBI agents, the ghost of a pillow salesman, the pillow heiress, and a clown. The game seems to be completely driven by the mouse with no keyboard controls at all. Completely point and click, which is pretty cool. Players will need to explore the town, surrounding areas, solve puzzles, unravel a darkly humorous neo-noir mystery using dialogue choices and an inventory where things click. I want to say click, but that would be kind of punny. Looks like there's some dialogue choices as well. Definitely something to keep an eye out 4.
Now when you're dead, as you may have discovered, if you hit the jump button, you can flop your body around. And if you flop into somebody who's still alive, you can stun them. The goal of the game is to kill each other. First to 10 kills win.
Arrowheads is a multiplayer battle title where players take control of birds who are shooting at each other with bow and arrows. This was Kieran, my 9-year-old's favorite game of the show. He's very difficult to please. So you move around with the left thumbstick and you aim with the right thumbstick and shoot. Players move around basically trying to avoid getting shot. It's a one-shot kill, and the first to 10 kills is declared the winner. But when your character is dead, you can still flop around and interact with objects such as a barrel of explosives. If doing so results in a kill, then you are credited for that kill. So you can technically be dead and still win the game. There's still a ways to go before the game is ready to be launched, but it certainly is going to be on our radar. Definitely fun. Munchkin Grim Tidings is the newest in the Munchkin line and available exclusively at Walgreens. Yeah, Munchkin at Walgreens. I don't know what to make of it either. That is a curse baked into a pie. You lose a level. So, this iteration of Munchkin takes Grimm's fairy tales and uses them as the basis for the cards. Of course, all the great Munchkin humor is present, and the gameplay is exactly as we have come to love and expect from Munchkin. I need this in my house, and might be my go-to version in order to teach others how to play the game. Notice that Hunter, and here's a Woodcutter. Those are both classes in Munchkin Grim Tidings. There's a whole bunch of other cool little nods to these sort of fairy tales, like that Wandering Minstrel. Here's some giants, all sorts of stuff. Finally, last but definitely not least, Secret Legend was a title that Kieran and I had stumbled upon. They were nice enough to squeeze him in for about 10 minutes or so of gameplay in between appointments. The comparison to Zelda is intentional. Secret Legend is meant to be an open world game, much like the old NES, SNES Zelda titles, only with improved combat. Players wake up and have nothing. They play as a little fox, and they have to figure out, now what? They want to capture that feeling of exploration. There is still a year or so left to go in development, so look for plenty of more information on this game in the future. Headed to PC and hopefully consoles. Visuals are fantastic. Certainly looks like it's going to satisfy. And that's going to be it for my 2016 Penny Arcade West Expo roundup. There was a lot that I did not get to this year, unfortunately, but there was a lot that I did. And my kids and I had a great time at the show, and hopefully I've given you some things to keep an eye on. There's definitely some things that we will be. And until next time, keep playing. Thanks.